Shalom. Call Lamai, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahshua, Hashem, Makar, Kodash, double honors to the Apostles, Great Millstone, Shalom to Hope Elect. It's been a call from Gmail People Camp. But a quick hit, I'm actually just uploaded 2 lessons. I don't want to keep beating on the point, but I just want to take this somewhere different because the Spirit is on me right now. We're going to the time for coming in, Jacob Trouble, the Lord, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The Lord wants to judge, as we've been according to the scriptures, the prophets, and the Lord has us here to preach his message. And Lord, what is the Lord's intention? The Lord's intention is to save his elect, but bring judgment on the majority of the world. Okay, that's the truth. That's what it is. And even including our majority of our own people, the Lord is going to brutally take out the mass majority of our people, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes and Native Americans. He's going to use Esau, Edom to be the main driver. He's going to be the main spearhead of that. Okay, he's going to be the main ringleader, come and bring wrath upon the tribe. The Lord's going to give you wicked Israelites over into the devil's hand. All right, Esau, Edom, he's going to come down having absolutely fear. This is going to be the most furious and wrathful Esau's ever going to be. Why? Because I'm about to read. He's at the end of his kingdom, man. All right, Esau can feel that pressure on. Okay, he can feel him losing his grip. He's not the super all-powerful so-called white man that he used to feel like he is. People are questioning his authority. People are looking down upon him. Everywhere he go, he can't go. He can't go to fucking Chick-fil-A without seeing the Israelite man there with his daughter, one of his sweet white daughters there. He's vexed. Everything he's seeing his government rising, treating him unfairly. So Esau, Edom, he's going to be in the Lord and setting everything up, all the chess pieces on the board for Esau to be the most wrathful and vengeful and just most full of hatred he's ever been. Esau's really going to be in a goddamn. He's really going to be in a fucking what's the term? He's going to be he's going to be drunk off his hatred. All right, he's going to be in a frenzy. Okay, the only time Esau is somewhat calm is when everybody's bowing down to him and treating him like he's God. That's the only time Esau can kind of chill a little bit. Anytime he's getting, like I said, he's getting any type of backlash, people calling him out for his crimes, for his cruel history. Esau, he's in war mode. So I'm going to play this clip from the movie Civil War, which I did a video on this a while back, but I was going to bring pushing this vibration again because this is the spirit I'm probably going to title is this the spirit Esau will be in Jacob's trouble. Okay, so 2 Kings 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So this is bittersweet because we understand that, okay, we woke up, the Lord has woken us up to the fact that the Israelites, we got our heritage back. We understand why we went through the most brutal captivity ever been because our people rebelled against the Lord. Okay, we were worshiping idols, we were worshiping other gods, and the Lord got tired of it, and he sent, again, our enemy after us to do what he will with us. And that's why our captivity was so brutal, and the Lord didn't step in and intervene and help us because he brought judgment upon us, right? And how the Lord brings judgment on Israel, he doesn't just judge us himself like Ezra was talking about. He sends us into captivity under our enemies, man. Esau, Edom is the most hateful one. He hates Israel. All right, that's literally what he was created for. He really hates us. He's mad because we're chosen. He's not. We're special. He's not. And he has had a very, very extreme hatred for Israelites. Okay, both men and women. He has a huge hatred for Israelites, man. Both northern and southern kingdom. He does not like us. It should be obvious by now. Okay, but so then we got the good part is the fact that we understand everybody get delivered. Everybody get the kingdom. The bitter part is that according to the prophecy, the Lord's going to allow Esau, Edom, his last hurrah. And we're going to be in the midst of this, and the Lord allowing Esau to bring wrath upon the 2/3. Okay, but our only hope is the fact that hopefully we're part of the elect, that the Lord's going to have mercy upon us, and he's going to miraculously deliver out of Esau's hand. So we're in the same position as we were back in ancient Egypt, okay, where the Pharaoh was coming after us, hot and heavy pursuit. Okay, but the Lord, he did miraculous things to intervene and to deliver us, man. All right, so we're hoping to get that same level of mercy again. But this time, only the elect Israel will get that mercy, not all Israel. But the Lord's going to give over majority of the Israelites over to him, to the slayer. So let's play this clip. I said this movie, that Civil War that came out like almost 2 years ago. Okay, what year is this? Yeah, it was last year. Yep. And she was talking about, they said, what type of American are you? That's what you're going to have. Edomites right here, the so-called red-blooded, patriotic Edomites who are all about, having a so-called straight white male supremacy again. When all hell breaks loose and everything starts getting crazy, this is the spirit, these average, I'm not even talking about actual official military soldiers. They may probably have some type of, past combat experience, all right, but they're going to be in the spirit, man. The type of Edomites betraying the gun right all the time. And that's the sword. That gun right there, that's Esau Edom's sword, man. The Lord's going to say, he's getting ready to allow Esau one last hurrah and having one last swipe at the tribes, man. Esau's going to use it. So again, you watch it, and not just going to be on the tribes, it's going to be the heathen too, but primarily Israelites, right?
Pastor, where? Charles. This is Charles. Good hiking. Thank you. Actually, no, we got county the university campus there. They started a new program. They are reopened, which is surreal.
But again, we're going to see later in the scene, behind them they got a whole ditch dug out with a whole bunch of bodies. So Esau Edom, he's got a so-called purify America again. And here it is, he didn't use all the different races to enslave them, okay, to build up his kingdom, primarily the Israelites, but you even had, Esau, either the Chinese or Japanese, I forgot which one, okay, during the time here that they was helping build the railroad tracks, XYZ, but now he wants to so-called purge America of all the immigrants, and that's the problem. The immigrants and quote-unquote minorities, which the Israelites, the so-called blacks and Native Americans, we're not the minority, we're the majority. You saw even his bullshit statistics. Nigga talking about so-called Negroes, only 13% of the U.S. population. That's bullshit. All right, but anyway, like I say, he wants to so-called make it a white man's world again. But his world's not gonna allow him to do that. But in Esau's quest to try to do that, he's gonna fulfill Bible prophecy, man. Okay, so.
This guy here, this guy here. That guy. Sir. Just what? Just what? 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 Just please? Please? Sir, please? Yes, speak. Your American comics. You told me.
Yep, I said, let me get this. Because again, I said, this is again the title lesson is this is the spirit Esau will be in Jacob's trouble. Right? They say he's getting ready to get wrathful. Because Esau, he enjoyed himself for a moment of time. And that's why Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, he was able to put on that image of he's a good guy persona. He just here to love everybody. He's calm. He's civilized. You know, going back to the 1950s, 60s, early 2000s. He was able to put on that persona. Why? Because he was
pretend to be the Christian, right?
And Babylon was thriving. He was like we talked about in Jeremiah 51. Babylon was that golden cup in the Lord's hand. The common, average, everyday Edomite. He had so-called white privilege and white supremacy. He was able to have a wife and have a big family and four dad working at a goddamn factory and making great money. Had a whole retirement plan, all that. Okay, the so-called niggas knew their place, but it was heavy. It wasn't all this. What's called again? What's the word? Integration. It was clear separation. It was clear Edomites was in supremacy. All right, it was clear Edomite rulership. It was clear Edomite privilege. Okay, they had the best of everything, while everybody else was struggling. But Esau, Edom, he's going back to showing who he really is because now he's losing. Now he's struggling in the economy. Like I said, his government's turning back on him. They're treating him like niggas. Right. So I'm just gonna get this point real quick. This is Isaiah 14 and verse It's Isaiah 14 verse 5. It says, the Lord had broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers, right? The scepter of the rulers, again, the scepter, the staff, talking about power. The Lord's going to break Esau, Edom's power, right? He's going to burn Babylon the Great up in World War III, but he's going to have a great societal collapse before that happens, right? Here's the point, though. Verse 6. This is how Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, has ruled his whole entire power structure. And that's why the other nations had so much fear. So the Lord gave him that sword. And he just, in his clip I'm playing, this movie, Civil War, you got this unhinged, this so-called quote-unquote racist, hateful Edomite with the gun who's dictating everything. That's how Esau, Edom has ruled the entire earth. He's just a hateful demon that goes around, wants to take everybody's shit, wants to rape everybody's women, wants to enslave everybody.
Like Donald Trump,
right?
their
He hates
leader.
everybody, especially the Israelites. He hates himself, really. And he has a super inferiority complex. So that's why he has to try so hard to bring everybody else down. Verse 6, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruleth the nation in anger is persecuted and unhindered. That's how Esau Edom does, as you see in this clip. This is how Esau Edom been ruling the earth, man. In wrath with a continual stroke. The so-called white man, he's so hostile. He hates everything. He hates nature. He hates life in general. That's why he does everything he does. He's anti-life. He that ruleth the nation in anger is persecuted and unhindered. When the Lord Yahushua gets here, he can be persecuted and nobody's going to be able to stand up and vouch for Esau. And Esau Edom will get his due judgment as he deserves. Like, look at these bodies right here. You already know, he get Jake lined up right here. You definitely going to put you to death. All right?
Your word for Reuters. Reuters doesn't sound American. It's a news agency. I know what Reuters is. Sir, okay. I'm just saying.
So American. So American. Esau, he's trying to make America is pure white again. He wants again so-called straight white men to have control.
That's why you love Donald Trump.
Leftist liberal BS. He's tired of the women's feminism. He's tired of the so-called equality with the other races being on the same level as the so-called white men here in America. Esau Edom wants to reestablish his dominance and supremacy. But again, the Lord's not going to allow him to do that. But in Esau's quest to do that, he's going to fulfill prophecy by coming down with great wrath. So these common, average Edomites like this who got some type of military experience, this is what they're going to be doing. All right?
What kind of American are you?
See, what kind of American are you? You leftist? You're leftist? You're right wing? What do you believe in? All right?
What? Central. What about you? Where are you from?
Tell him, Jesse. Missouri?
Missouri. Fukushima state, right?
Yes.
You know what they call it? Why do they call it Fukushima state? You don't know? It's America. It is America. 100%. What about you? Where are you from?
Colorado.
Colorado. Colorado. Missouri. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. This guy hiding. Hey, buddy. What's your deal? Where are you from? Huh? Where are you from? Yes, tell me where you're from. To make sure it's clear fucking English, okay? Where are you from? Oh, China. China. What? Just stop it. Stop it. Who the fuck do you think you are?
See, it's low in that far. I want to play that clip, man. I think I did a lesson on this back when this movie had first came out like last year. But again, it's emphasizing the point. The spirit Esau is going to be in it purposely. Shows this in this movie against Civil War. You know what I'm saying? Esau, he wants to begin. He wants to reestablish Edomite male supremacy. He wants to reestablish.
Make America white again.
He wants to make America great again. American, as you see, emphasize American. What he means by that, by so-called white America, so-called right-wing conservative Edomites having power again, but it's not going to happen. Like I said, America's fucked, America's doomed. Mystery Babylon the Great will be destroyed in World War III, but Esau, Edom will get his last hurrah. So with that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to you. How about you, Shah, Bashem, Kakadash, the balance of apostles, the millstone, Shalom, self elect, man, the Bob Ball, Kwame Nasrallah, Shalom.
So, like everything else, well, you're having the breakdown of Esau society, right? The elites are deliberately breaking down the system. Shalom, first and foremost, like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, double honor, Zales and Apostles of Great Millstone, who are teachers of the truth and sincerity, and shout out to Yakims out there in the four quarters of the earth who claim his truth. Brak of the Yahweh, Brak of the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Ba'akatom. So I got one from Richie. Now, he hasn't come out against hantavirus. As far as I know, he hasn't. But he's the one that told you that COVID was nothing more than a hoax. And so what he's talking about right here is the fact that all the refineries are getting blown up simultaneously. Now, he straight up does not worship the pagan holidays, as you know. Mother Worship Day, Mother Mary Worship Day just passed, but pretty much though, he speaks against all of them. He knows that those are not the customs of the Bible, that those are pagan customs. But nonetheless though, he's going into how all the oil's being blown up on purpose.
I did text my father's wife today. I didn't say Happy Mother's Day, but I sent flower emojis, so I'm covered. That's simply showing respect for my father's wife, period. At any rate, all right, let's get into this real quick. I got a lot of things I want to cover. I want to try to do it properly, but let's take a look at the let's take a look at certain things. Like this is current right now. $5.29 a gallon, $4.49 for 87. $4.49, $4.50 a gallon for 87, and this is just going to keep going up and up and up. I was at this particular gas pump a week ago, and it was $1 cheaper a gallon. So we're getting into some. They're doing us. This is happening, and I talked to a lot of people that are awake, and they just don't seem to see any urgency. They're not getting it. Gas prices, food prices, and then food not moving. You know what I'm saying? I saw gasoline in Arkansas, diesel fuel at gas stations, almost at $6 a gallon. That's a problem.
It's a lot higher than that now. But, that's what he's seeing. Well, it's a lot higher than that in California, right? Homicidal mad scientists have officially launched their new bioweapon attack against humanity. After being totally vindicated and exposed to the COVID hoax, so he says pandemic and hoax too, Alex Jones breaks down how ticks, mosquitoes, and gain-of-function viruses are being modified by the globalists to destroy nations that set up the New World Order system, which it's all here, it's all in the making. Everybody sees it for what it is. Let's just see if there's an actual video for it. You can't click it on. Well, anyways, wait, hold on. Slovakia. Just slow as fuck. Of course, because I'm trying to do a video. I like to try to get these things preloaded, but this is one I didn't have preloaded. So let's just see here. Yeah, that is a video.
Dumb you down and slowly kill you. Bill Gates is a homicidal mass murderer. It's in all the emails with Epstein talking about how do we kill the poor people. Everything I told you about Wuhan and the lab, everything I told you about
Right shit, bad shit, dirty old twat.
That's all in Congress now. Oh my gosh, breaking 6 years after I exposed it with top experts like Francis Boyle, Dr. Boyle. We don't have time for that anymore. And now they're behind this new rollout, bigger than Dallas. Some new weaponized form that suddenly can jump from human to human when it couldn't before. And it's popping up all over the world, not just off this cruise ship. Oh, but the people on the cruise ship went to the biggest trash dump in the world, and that's where the husband and wife got sick and did it. Just like, oh, there was a wet grocery store, wet market, meaning live animals in China, and that's where it came from. Then you got all the fact checkers attacking us years ago, exposing Bill Gates. Oh, it's not true. That's funded by Bill Gates. Oh, you didn't know Bill Gates funds the main fact checking groups? Of the top 5, he funds 4 of them? That's how this guy gets away with it. Oh, no evidence it came from a lab. Remember all that? Now we have the emails with Bill Gates and Peter Daszak and Fauci all about how do we cover this up with meetings with the CIA in 2020 and 2021. Well, sorry, it all came out. And today's the last day for statute of limitations of Fauci lying to Congress saying he wasn't involved in gain of function. We have his emails he was. The last day on that. So these people are mad scientists. They make Joseph Mengele, the angel of death Nazi scientist, look like a choir boy.
So there you have it. Another hoax. And of course IT also commented on this, right? Because it's supposed to be just like COVID, but COVID was a hoax too. And it reminds me of a song. A hoax is a hoax, of course, and no one can conduct a hoax, of course, unless the hoax is conducted by the famous Dr. F. You know, Dr. Fucky, he's back on the scene again, concocting a new hoax, and you know, the whole world is watching. Oh, fucking shit! Hantavirus scare.
3 people are dead.
Oh, I'm shaking in my boot.
Broke out on a cruise ship. Are we on the brink of a new pandemic?
Oh, no, fuck you!
The ship in the middle of the Atlantic, 3 dead, and the new virus is the reported killer. But are we really in danger? Let's break it down. For many people, COVID broke the illusion that history books. Lockdowns, masks, vaccines, packed hospitals, daily death counts. Everyone remembers this depressing feeling. So now, whenever a new virus appears in the headlines, and especially one with fatal cases, the reaction is an instant, oh shit. Well, actually, humanity has always been terrified of mass disease. The Black Plague emptied Middle Ages cities. The English sweating sickness of the 16th century...
Oh, the difference is you didn't have a media to lie to people.
The Spanish flu tore through the world, killing millions. AIDS changed how an entire generation thought about sex, blood, and...
Another identified dick sucker.
The hantavirus. Scary, isn't it? A
rat shit, dirty old twat.
Suspected hantavirus cases, with 3 deaths reported.
All we want right now is to
Fuck you, fag!
to have clarity,
Faggot!
at home. So if you're seeing coverage about this, behind it, and that this isn't something happening somewhere far away.
Fucking
It's happening
queer.
to us right now.
The story is frightening because it has all the ingredients people recognize. A big ship, a mysterious outbreak, sick passengers, and a weird hantavirus. But let's stop the panic. Hantavirus is not COVID. It is not usually spread through casual person-to-person contact. The main route is rodents, their urine, droppings...
COVID wasn't even real either.
People can become infected when contaminated dust gets stirred up and breathed in, especially in enclosed places where rodents have been living.
If anyone starts to show symptoms, they could be moved to an even more secure facility nearby, the biocontainment unit. There, patients will be taken into isolation rooms that have high-tech filtration systems.
But they are playing on this one.
Machines.
Now, that does not mean it's harmless. It is still extremely serious. Remember, rats and lice carry the plague. So what is hantavirus? In the Americas, some hantaviruses can cause pulmonary syndrome, a dangerous illness. It can begin like a normal flu, fever, muscle aches, fatigue, sometimes nausea, or stomach pain. Then it can suddenly move into the lungs, causing severe breathing problems. Other hantaviruses, more common in Europe and Asia, can affect the kidneys.
fake
So,
viruses,
the
you mean?
virus can kill, that part is real. But the bigger question is, should ordinary people be afraid of a COVID-like pandemic? And the answer is no, not in the same way. Before we jump to any conclusions, the cruise ship case still needs investigation. Officials have to find out where exposure happened, what strain is involved, and whether the cases share the same source. Fear is understandable, but fear is not the same as risk.
But if you take your attention off of everything else, though, yep, it's all a game. That's how you play it, right? So, like everything else, under the guise of safety, well, Diablo has come over, right? It's a Diablo takeover, and that Diablo is Esau. So, as you know, the reason why Esau's cracked down on the older cars and all that is because they didn't have digital tracking systems in there. No GPS systems, no cameras to monitor what they think, whether you're a safe driver or not, and of course, everything else, like AI is watching you. Big Brother is watching you. Well, we're a little bit past 1984. But nonetheless, though, this is what's going on. It's everywhere. Eye in the sky.
Amazon devices. So if any of you guys have any of the Amazon products, such as the Ring doorbell or any of the Echo products, you might want to watch this video, especially targeted individuals. So can you explain to everybody about the Amazon devices and also explain what Sidewalk is to them, please?
Amazon has a range of connected devices, Echo speakers, Ring doorbells, Fire tablets, and other smart home products. All of them have a feature called Sidewalk that's automatically enabled without your knowledge or consent. Sidewalk is a hidden network built into these devices that creates one massive interconnected surveillance system across your entire
Yeah, fuck
neighborhood.
Siri.
It uses your home's internet to connect with every other Amazon device nearby. Your neighbor's Ring cameras, Echo speakers, all linked together. Amazon collects data through this network from every Amazon device in your area. But here's what's critical. Amazon has direct access to everything connected to your Wi-Fi on these devices. Your laptops, phones, tablets, smart TVs. They can see what you're doing on those devices. They also have access to the cameras on your Ring doorbell, seeing video feeds from inside and outside your home in real time. All of that information, the camera footage and device data from your entire neighborhood, is being collected and stored without your consent. And most people don't even know Sidewalk exists because Amazon turned it on by default.
Can it be turned off?
Yes, you can turn it off, but it takes work. You have to go into your Alexa app on your phone, find the Sidewalk settings.
Who wants
disable it for
Alexa
each device.
or Siri?
Amazon makes it deliberately hard to find and turn off because they want it enabled by default. Most people never discover it exists, which is exactly how Amazon designed it. But yes, it can be disabled if you know where to look.
Thank you. And I just want to know, who has access to this information? Do they have contracts with Palantir or the government, the police? Can you go into that a little bit, please? And I just want to clarify that you said they can see inside and outside your house 24/7 in real time, correct?
Yes, correct. Ring cameras stream in real time 24/7, so law enforcement and Amazon can monitor what's happening at your home whenever they want, if they have access to those feeds. As for who has access, law enforcement agencies regularly request Ring footage from Amazon to investigate crimes in neighborhoods, and Amazon complies with those requests. Police departments across the country have access to your home camera feeds. Now, Palantir is a data integration platform that intelligence agencies and government contractors use to pull together surveillance information from multiple sources, including Ring footage and Sidewalk network data. So your camera feeds combined with all that neighborhood device data can be integrated into Palantir systems that track populations. It's all connected. Amazon, law enforcement, government intelligence agencies. The surveillance network extends from your home directly into government tracking systems.
Wow. Thank you very much for that information.
Happy to bring awareness to the targeted individual community. The more people understand how their homes and neighborhoods are being surveilled through these Amazon devices, and how that data flows into government systems, the harder it becomes for these operations to function in the shadows.
There you go.
And that's just dealing with one, Amazon. It's a corporation, but you know how many corporations there are, right? You know, I mean, people are so fucking stupid, they don't fucking type anymore. They just talk into their devices, including their computers. They use voice recognition systems because they don't want to fucking type anymore. Yeah, I admit typing sucks, but I don't like that shit. I don't like fucking talking at all to something that isn't there, you know. I don't like artificial intelligence, and I definitely don't like Siri, and I don't like Alexa. Fuck all that. And I know old people really fucking like that shit, but I sure the fuck don't. Over 500,000 waited to cross into Europe from Libya. The North African nation poses the biggest problem for the bloc in terms of arrivals. So like everything else, here we go with that integration shit, just like the brother was going into earlier, right? You know, because here we are. EU crisis could be on the verge of a new migrant crisis, with more than 500,000 people waiting in Libya alone to cross into Europe. So, here we go, man. They want everybody to remain white because you see that it's mostly Jake, right? You know, so they just want to keep it Edomite-like. See, Esau's coming down with great wrath everywhere. You know, generated by Donald Trump mostly, but it's been happening for some time. The bloc was first endued by asylum seekers from West Asia and North Africa during the 2015. God damn it! No, I ain't giving it permission. When 1 million migrants entered into Europe, you know, thus, you know, through the war and etc. Not to mention, Libya became unlivable after NATO destroyed it. You know, the U.S. and NATO fucking destroyed Libya and murdered Muammar Gaddafi, and it's been nothing more than hell over there. Athens introduced a number of strict measures to stem the flow over the past few years, including detention for those denied asylum, you know, like ISIS does, right? That's their ISIS. You know, so, there we go. Libya has become a key transit point for human trafficking and migration to Europe. Oh, they call it human trafficking now. You know, because of course, you know, and it mentions it. In 2011, they overthrew and assassinated longtime ruler Muammar Gaddafi. The EU struggled to manage the migrant crisis since 2015, you know, because people fled from that after Muammar Gaddafi was taken out. So who the fuck wants to live in anything that the U.S. or the UN so-called liberated? Oil jumps, stocks mixed amid Iran. And not to mention, you have nothing but terrorist groups that run Libya as they do in Syria. U.S. claims of attack in Straits. So here we go. U.S. crude was up to 0.1% to 102 a barrel, and Brent rose from 110.36 to a barrel, up to 2% on the day. You know, again, stock manipulation. U.S. stocks were mixed, with the Dow Jones Industrial average down 0.5%, the S&P 5% lower than NASDAQ. So basically, you know, more shit going on. First Houthi drones sent against the Israeli state since Iran's ceasefire took effect. These are coming from Yemen. In what appears to be the first Houthi attack out of Yemen since the broader so-called ceasefire, which Israeli state had already violated it anyways by attacking Lebanon. Early April, Israeli Defense Forces said a drone launched from the east was intercepted by the Israeli Air Force. IDF further indicated it believed that it had been launched from Yemen, although IDF is still investigating its origin. So, like everything else though, you know. More escalations. Now, we already know who fucking... And look at this, Donald Trump. Well, Kurds have been screwed by America time and time again, so it's not surprising. America has never been the friends of the Kurds. Trump very disappointed in Kurds who just take. Because, of course, they would not fight against Iran. Kurdish leaders denied receiving weaponry from the U.S. to fight Iran's government. U.S. President Trump said he is very disappointed with the Kurds who he criticized for failing to provide support for his illegal operation against Iran. Speaking of the White House on Monday, Trump appeared to reference claims that the U.S. provided weaponry to Kurdish opposition groups during the U.S.-Israeli terror attack against Iran that began in late February. You know, when he bombed the school just for fun and bombed civilian infrastructure because it was fun. Iranian Kurdish leaders denied claims that they were handed weaponry by the U.S. to provide opponents of the Islamic Republic. Kurds, take. They have a great reputation in Congress, said Trump. Congress says they fight hard when they get paid. So, like everything else, though, they're saying that they didn't receive any such funding. United Arab Emirates condemns hijacking of oil tanker off Yemen, express full solidarity with Egypt. So, you know, the U.S. Looks like they stole an oil tanker. United Arab Emirates condemned the hijacking of an oil tanker while sailing off the Yemeni coast. But remember, United Arab Emirates have a new enemy, Saudi Arabia. In a statement, United Arab Emirates Ministry of Foreign Affairs expressed the country's full solidarity with Egypt and with the families of the kidnapped sailors and voiced support efforts aimed at ensuring their safety and securing their release. So they were detained. Detained by who, though? Ministry said it's closely monitoring the hijacking of the oil tanker MT Eureka from Yemeni territorial waters and its transfer to Somalia territorial waters. Yeah. So this is probably from Saudi Arabia, because that's the country that's over there. You know, you can't, because the U.S. blockade is supposed to be over on that side of the India Ocean. And that's not really has nothing to do with the Suez Canal. So you got more hijacking, right? Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates are also at war. But now Iran has evidence to prove that the United Arab Emirates was very much complicit and carried out covert attacks. Gulf Nation reportedly feels increasingly abandoned by D.C. over the latter's failures to respond to Iranian takes on its infrastructure. United Arab Emirates carried out covert strikes against Iran in retaliation for attacks on its infrastructure. Strikes suggest Abu Dhabi is increasingly willing to act on its own rather than rely solely on U.S. deterrence, amid growing frustration with D.C., analysts report. So, in other words, they started launching their own attacks. Well, they deserve even more retaliation, right? Should they strike again. Strait of Hormuz, now a 500-kilometer operational crescent. And this has come from the IRGC. IRGC has announced a major strategic expansion of Iran's defense perimeter in the strait, warning that it will not allow any violation of the country's territorial waters or national interests. In the past, the strait was defined as a limited area around islands such as Hormuz and Hingan, but today this has changed, he said. What Iran considers the scope of the strait has been expanded, stretching from the coast of Jask and Suez to beyond the Greater Tomb Island, redefined as a strategic zone, he said. In other words, the Strait of Hormuz has grown larger and turned into a vast operational area. Well, that's what happens in war. You know, you cut off routes. And Iran has the upper hand. And Trump doesn't like it. Trump considering resuming airstrikes as talks with Iran stall. U.S. President Trump considering resuming the bombing campaign against Iran as peace talks remain stalled. On Sunday, Trump rejected Iran's latest terms as totally unacceptable. Well, we read that before. According to Axios, Trump was sent to meet with the National Security Team on Monday to discuss the next step, including potentially resuming Project Freedom, an operation aimed at guiding ships through the strait. Good luck. Go ahead and send your Navy in there. See what happens. Trump suspended Project Freedom within 24 hours, announcing last week following the request from Pakistan, which we know is because Saudi Arabia told them no. But they'll find other ways of getting in. Of course they will, because Israeli state King Bibi said, nope, it ends when I tell you it ends. You do what I say, you little bitch. Just suck my cock. Hezbollah leader says resistant drones are a tightening noose on the Israeli state. Hezbollah Secretary General praised Lebanese resistance forces for their retaliatory drone strikes operations against Israeli military positions, stressing that unmanned aircraft are closely monitoring all enemy movements and are tightening the noose around Israeli occupation forces. He noted the resistant force's strong determination serves as thunderstorm against Zionist occupiers, clears all of their darkness, and strikes fears into the hearts and the minds of the enemy. Hezbollah chief underlined that the group will not relinquish its weapons as long as it's an internal Lebanese issue and non-negotiable. Because that's the only defending government of Lebanon is Hezbollah. Israeli state seeks to escalate Lebanon invasion despite warnings of collapsing army. Yeah, because they're running out of personnel. Israeli Army Chief Staff repeated warnings that the military needs to urgently address a growing shortage of troops. We are preparing for the possibility that the political echelon will give the green light to expand the operation in Lebanon, and we are making the necessary preparations on the ground accordingly. So, the reserve army will collapse in on itself. There will be unreasonable burden on the reservists. If nothing happens, the reservists will not be able to withstand the pressure in the years to come, he added. So, like everything else, though, they're thinning out. Yeah. So we got some footage here of what their drones can do. So there you have it. Hezbollah footage publishes footage data on the 8th of May showing its fighters targeted Israeli Iron Dome battery and its crew along the border using 2 attack drones. So there it is. And like everything else though, King Bibi, did he just let it slip or was that the plan all along? Well, you know, you follow the scriptures. Well, we know the main one. And it's right there in Jeremiah chapter 49. The least of the flock, right? King Bibi, you know, which probably will be replaced by Bennett, but that either way, it's the Israelis. Those are the least of the flock. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 20, it reads, "Therefore hear the counsel of the Most High that he has taken against Edom and his purposes." Well, when we're talking about the high place of Esau Edom, we're talking about Babylon. "That he purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate because of them." So, you know, this never-ending war, because it ain't over till King Bibi says it's over. So hopefully all this is edifying. Got one more here before I close this out. Shalom, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadosh, Wa Abba Babal. Brakatum, Jehovah elect, Shalom.
Oh boy, the negotiations aren't going too well, as Donald Trump is even talking about how the ceasefire is in danger. All of this,
well, it's a
Bibi
joke.
Netanyahu literally came out on 60 Minutes and said, we're not done yet. As right now we're finding out.
Yeah, you're my bitch. You'll do what I tell you, boy.
Has been won already multiple times, as Bibi Netanyahu also described how they are at war on the social media front. What does that mean? As a lot of people are talking about, what about this concept of free speech? As Bibi allegedly is also talking about how he no longer wants aid from the United States. CBS cuts off a very interesting portion about him talking about a future partnership, which lines up with what we have been kind of predicting was the overall trajectory and plan here. We'll tell you about this and a lot more all here on this independent media broadcast. If you appreciate it, subscribe. Click the notification button as we that Bibi is essentially pushing and demanding that he's implementing here, that the Iranians are saying no to. There's a lot of serious questions about what happens next.
What's anything about that proposal, and what, if any, have you changed to break this down?
It was just unacceptable. You know, a lot of people said, well, does he have a plan? Yeah, of course they do have the best plan ever. Iran has been defeated militarily, totally. A little left they probably built up during this period of time. We'll knock that out in about a day.
Sure thing, Epstein.
They have a plan, you know, it is a very simple plan. I don't know why you don't say it like it is. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
That doesn't sound like a plan. That sounds like a demand.
Very dangerous. They're very volatile. It's a terrible thing that's happened. They've killed.
Now, granted, not a fan of the Iranian regime, but they haven't been the one preemptively striking and attacking first. Bibi's government was. America was. They were the ones that started the fight here, as Trump had some other interesting comments talking about how this ceasefire is on, quote, massive life support, which is not good.
I think so. Well, you have two. You have the moderates and you have the lunatics. And I think the moderates are more respected. The lunatics want to fight till the end, you know.
I think he's talking about the difference between the Iranian leadership, and of course we have the political leadership and the military leadership. The military leadership is like, fight, 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 obviously because they're the military. We fragmented their whole kind of system by taking out a lot of their leadership without any kind of consideration or thought who would really kind of take over here. As Trump talks about how he armed the Kurds turned their backs on them. We have Mark Levin be like, we got to arm them more, and it's like, what?
It'll be a very quick fight. But I call them, you have, just like our country, we have lunatics too. We have, I call them,
you mean like you?
Stupid people too. But
yeah, you're the stupidest person of all.
And then you have the lunatics, and I guess they're a little bit afraid of the lunatics, but, and why not? The level of ferocity for protest, you know, the people are watching it, they want to go out on the streets, they have no weapons, they have no guns. We thought the Kurds were going to give us weapons, but the Kurds disappointed us. The Kurds take. And
there it is.
In Congress says, oh, they fight so hard. No, they fight hard when they get paid. So I'm very disappointed in the Kurds. But they were given, I said it wasn't going to work, by the way. I just have to say it. I disagreed with what they did. They gave it. I said, they'll never get there. And I was right. I like to be right. In this case, too bad. But we sent some guns with ammunition. And they were supposed to be delivered, but they kept it. I said, they're going to keep it. But what do I...
Then why do it? Who else was calling it? Who was superseding you? And of course, Mark Levin was like, arm them. All these other like neocon, like right-wing supporters, like arm them, more arms. Even after this debacle, and we were like, hey, we armed, and then like there's more weapons missing now in the arms of like radicalized communists. Maybe not a smart move. And then still, Mark Levin's like, give them more. What?
No, I've only been doing this a short period of time. What do I know?
Who superseded the president of the United States with that decision? Why do we still trust them at the helm of power right now, and why haven't they been held accountable?
What? For the time being, the ceasefire remains in place.
You know, it's unbelievably weak. I would call it the weakest right now. After reading that piece of garbage they sent us, I didn't even finish reading it. They said,
that piece of garbage is the Iranians' kind of list of demands.
I'm going to waste my time reading it. I would say it's one of the weakest right now. It's on life support. They understand these are all medical people. And Dr. Oz, life support is not a good thing. Do you agree? I would say the ceasefire is on massive life support, where the doctor walks in and says, sir,
so is the state of the American economy.
Your loved one has approximately a 1% chance of living.
Yeah, that's not good. As the Daily Beast has an article that talks about the Iranian demand that triggered Trump's rage post before talking about that, and what Bibi had to say on 60 Minutes, which was pretty bombastic to say the least here. We just really quickly wanted to tell you about We Are Change. Our first selling supplement was one that personally ashwagandha benefits into us here. As Donald Trump just came out and says, I haven't just read the response from Iran's so-called representatives. I don't like it. Totally unacceptable. Thank you for your attention to this particular matter. As he just released another one saying they will be laughing for no longer. Okay, like threatening stuff. Trump has been sending out a lot of threats.
Yep, it's Trumpshit.
With something here as the Iranian representative just informed Trump that there will be a huge mistake if hostilities are resumed. Vladimir Putin made similar type of arguments as Iran wants to keep their nuclear facilities, wants to control the Strait of Hormuz, and wants to have some uranium. Now, one of the people that doesn't want this conflict to end here is, of course, Bibi, a foreign prime minister of a country that is saying no. As Iran rejected U.S. demands, U.S. is rejecting the Iranian demands, and then we have Bibi Netanyahu being like, yeah, it's not over. Oh, it's not over at all. We want our list of demands to be met here. And it looks like the United States is following suit with this.
Is the war with Iran over? And if it isn't, who will decide when it is?
I think it accomplished a great deal, but it's not over because there's still nuclear material, enriched uranium that has to be taken out of Iran. There's still enrichment sites that have to be dismantled.
There are still proxies that Iran supports. There are ballistic missiles that they still want to produce. Now, we've degraded a lot of it, but all that is still...
Notice the list of demands keeps expanding here. It's like, oh, they have this. We got to stop all that. Big list of demands here.
There, and
that keeps growing. As some people are saying, the ceasefire, the peace deal, these initiatives aren't meant for peace. They're meant to, of course, be used as a justification for furthering and expanding this conflict, which already is, to me, an absurd notion, since this conflict has very negative effects on the U.S. economy.
There's work to be done.
How do you envision the highly enriched uranium will be removed from Iran?
You go in and you take it out.
With what? You go in. He's speaking to America. You go in and you take it out. No, thank you. I'm okay.
No.
Why is it me?
Special forces from Israel, special forces from the United States.
Well, I'm not going to talk about military means, but what President Trump has said to me, I want to go in there. And I think it can be done physically. That's not the problem. If you have...
Trump's like, oh yeah, Trump wants to do it. Huh?
Or an agreement?
Now the question is, did we already try to do it? As a lot of people believe that the pilot missing type of saga was all a cover for a failed operation to actually send special forces to get the radioactive material, which failed. Right? That's a theory that's being shared around by some people.
And you go in and you take it out. Why not? That's the best way.
Why not? Because, like, people's lives are in danger, right? Predominantly, probably American lives. American soldiers, American good old boys, right? That are going to be, that have the power, that have the ability, especially after the Maduro raid, which was probably sold to Trump as a Maduro 2.0 type of operation. Again, we're talking about very high likelihood of a disaster happening here that is very dangerous to do.
There isn't an agreement. Can it be taken out by force?
Well, you're going to ask me these questions. I'm going to dodge them because I'm not going to talk about our military possibilities, plans, or anything of the kind.
And I'm just trying to get at how long is it going to take to achieve that aim?
I'm not going to give a timetable to it, but I'm going to say that's a terrifically important mission.
For you, as you're also facing corruption charges that seem to be postponed all the time because there's a big conflict going on American media. And we made this argument a couple years ago saying, look, he's facing a lot of very serious trials. These trials keep being postponed because of international conflicts. Some people are saying that he's prolonging these conflicts so he doesn't get ousted out of political power. There are major protests in his home country with people protesting him. As a lot of people are saying that Netanyahu is essentially calling for U.S. ground forces to seize enriched Iranian uranium. Now, again, he didn't call for it exactly, kind of insinuated that probably will be the case here, saying my Trump wants to do it. So he didn't clearly say it, but he, again, insinuated. There was another portion where he talked about social media, which is fueling the decline of support for his initiatives and his programs here, as the redheaded libertarian responded to this by saying, yes, Ben, we have a little something in America called the First Amendment, and criticism of you does not pass the Brandenburg test for incitement. Right? As, of course, he talked about how social media, people being able to talk to each other in an unvetted, unfiltered, uncontrolled, not top-down way, is leading for people to have a decline of support for his political initiatives that he's getting our government to do for him. Interesting. Interesting argument.
Because of what you said.
Now, granted, there's some loony people and some bigots out there and some, like, really hateful people. Of course, that always gets conflated. That's not what I'm calling for. Obviously, if you hate all people...
Oh, you might be anti-Semitic if you support Palestine.
You push back about it. I get it, but you can do it in a normal, rational conversation. You don't need to hijack major platforms of communication. As, of course, Bibi was talking about how he needs to get active and engaged, how he needs to call Elon Musk because there's too much conversations on Twitter that he doesn't like. And I'm like, essentially saying that. And I'm like, sure sounds like this guy just wants to stifle speech.
Exactly what you said, Major. In other words, we have seen the deterioration of the support for Israel in the United States almost, I would say, it correlates almost 100% with the geometric rise of social media. And that by itself is not what caused it. And I don't believe in censoring them or anything, but I'll tell you what happened. We have several countries that basically...
Well, it's not censorship, but there's censorship, especially on these type of platforms that are being taken over by a lot of people connected to things like the IDF that keep altering text, keep altering speech in a way that's kind of censorious.
We manipulated social media with bot farms, with fake addresses to break the American sympathy to Israel, to break the American-Israeli alliance because they think it's in their interests. And they do it in a clever way. You know, it's like you hear a text message, I'm a red-blooded Texan.
You know, the thing that's building up a lot of people being critical of this is BB. Right? If you look at the problem, right, he's like, oh yeah, it's all these people online, it's bots. But granted, there are some bots, right, and there are some bot conversations. But in reality, if you want to look at the biggest culprit of Americans being like, hey, We shouldn't be raising our gas prices. We shouldn't be destroying our alliances. We shouldn't be disrupting global trade. Hey, we shouldn't be disrupting the fertilizer trade during growing season. Hey, we shouldn't be doing all this stuff for you and your initiative and program that you've been trying to get America to do for over 30 years. If you want to look at the problem, look in the mirror, because it's your policies and initiatives that told us Iraq was going to be simple and easy and quick, and people are going to be regarding it as a major victory. It's going to bring peace into the region. It's going to be quick and easy, you said with Iraq. That didn't happen. The exact opposite of that happened. And then there's refugee crises, global jihadism problems, right? Massive amounts of sectarian violence, massive amounts of death, and then also the rise of the Iranian state, which then very conveniently was risen after the Iraq war debacle that you helped propagate. Now, for 30 years, you're like, Iran. 2 days now, a week. Look at the chart here. I'm at the United Nations. Well, look at this. This is why people are like, hey, we're doing this, right? You're reaping the benefits. What are we getting out of this? We're not getting anything. Average American doesn't give a damn about some like uranium in some Iranian. They don't give a damn because they understand it's not a threat against them, right? It is a threat against Bibi, right? Yeah. Okay, you can make that argument, make it clear. Don't tell us that, yeah, we need to do this.
I always supported Israel, but I can't stand what they're doing. I'm turning against Israel. And then you trace the address to some basement in Pakistan.
It's not that. It's mainly, criticism of Bibi, right? Now, he talked about how his government, his military is winning on many fronts, but they're completely exposed on the 8th front, right? Which is social media. So they're treating social media like a war. What happens in a war, they take people out. Now, Barry Weiss of CBS News, according to Chris Mandaham, is also being accused of deceptively cutting out parts of an interview with Bibi, who then later clarified that he doesn't want to get aid from the United States, but he wants to have a, quote, partnership with the United States. As he says, quote, I want to draw the aid down, and then I want to suggest projects, joint projects for intel, for weapons, for missile defense. What he's describing is taking military tech, such as missile defense, which he funded, and then selling it back to us from some sort of partnership. This isn't just missing from the clip below. It was chopped out of the full show, too, without any clear cuts. Note, too, he says he wants to start now and not wait for the next Congress. That's because he knows that American people don't want to have favorable sentiments towards him, and the sentiment keeps going down. He also talked about how he wants his country to be a regional global power. Not just regionally, but a global superpower, right? So if he becomes a global superpower, which I said, look, I said this is the kind of thinking from the U.S. military-industrial complex, bomb the crap out of the Middle East, make Bibi's government a world superpower, they'll control it then, right, and they'll be the top dog, and then they'll move to Asia. And that's when the fighting starts, right? Especially during the monkey year, as many Asians believe that big conflict is coming to the region. Now, Bibi kind of shifting goalposts and kind of expanding them, talking about, oh, it's their nuclear program. No, it's their uranium. No, it's now their ballistic missiles. It has always been being done here, but it kind of shows here how there's always going to be an excuse for further war that I pray we don't get entangled in. I pray there's a deal. I pray there's peace. I pray there's...
Yeah, keep thinking that. Shalom, the Third World War cometh quickly.